Chapter 1. The shadowed storm rain pounded against the windshield like 1,000 accusing fingers, each drop a reminder of the life I was fleeing. My name is Alara Voss, and at 28, I'd finally mustered the courage to leave behind the suffocating grip of my ex-fiancé Marcus. He wasn't just controlling, he was a monster in human skin, the kind who left bruises that faded but scars that lingered deep in the soul. I'd packed my beat-up sedan with what little I owned and driven north, toward the dense forests of the Pacific Northwest, where whispers of forgotten towns promised anonymity. But fate, that cruel jester, had other plans. The storm hit without warning as I navigated the winding roads of Blackridge Hollow, a remote speck on the map I'd chosen for its isolation. Lightning cracked the sky, illuminating the twisted pines that clawed at the heavens. My tires skidded on the slick asphalt, and I gripped the wheel tighter, my heart racing. Just a little further, I muttered to myself, as if words could ward off the deluge. The radio crackled with static, a voice warning of flash floods, but I pushed on. I had to. Marcus's threats echoed in my mind. "You'll never escape me, Alara. You're mine." Then it happened. A massive branch, torn from its tree by the wind, crashed onto the road ahead. I slammed on the brakes, but it was too late. The car hydroplaned, spinning wildly before slamming into a ditch. Pain exploded in my shoulder as the impact jarred me forward, the seatbelt biting into my skin. Dazed, I fumbled for my phone, no signal. Of course. The engine sputtered and died, leaving me in darkness, broken only by the relentless storm. Panic clawed at my throat. I couldn't stay here. The water was rising fast, lapping at the doors. Grabbing my backpack stuffed with clothes, a few $100s, and the faded photo of my mother, I kicked the door open and stumbled out into the torrent. The cold rain soaked me instantly, mingling with the blood trickling from a cut on my forehead. I trudged forward, the forest, a blurred wall of shadows on either side. Every step felt like wading through molasses, my sneakers sinking into the mud. That's when I heard it, a low guttural growl that cut through the thunder. I froze, my breath hitching. Wolves? In this part of the country? The sound came again, closer this time, not from the woods, but from the road ahead. Squinting through the sheets of rain, I saw it, a massive shape lying crumpled on the shoulder, illuminated by a flash of lightning. It was a wolf, larger than any I'd seen in documentaries, its fur matted with blood and rain. Its chest heaved irregularly, and one leg was twisted at an unnatural angle. My first instinct was to run. Wild animals were dangerous, especially injured ones. But something held me back, a flicker of empathy, perhaps born from my own wounds. The wolf's eyes met mine, glowing amber in the storm's fury, and in that gaze, I saw not just pain, but intelligence. A plea, against all reason. I approached slowly, my hands raised. "Easy there," I whispered, my voice trembling. "I'm not going to hurt you," the wolf whimpered, trying to lift its head but collapsing back down. Up close, it was enormous, easily the size of a small bear, with sleek black fur streaked with silver. A deep gash ran along its flank, oozing blood that mixed with the mud. It must have been hit by a car or caught in the storm's debris. I knelt beside it, ignoring the rational voice screaming in my head to leave. I'd volunteered at an animal shelter in my college days. I knew basic first aid. Rummaging in my backpack, I pulled out a scarf and some antiseptic wipes, meager supplies, but better than nothing. As I gently pressed the cloth to the wound, the wolf tensed, a rumble building in its chest. "Shh, it's okay," I soothed, my fingers trembling. To my shock, it didn't snap or flee. Instead, it watched me with those piercing eyes, as if assessing my soul. The rain eased slightly, allowing me a better look. There was something almost human about its expression. Ridiculous, I told myself. Exhaustion and adrenaline were playing tricks, but then, the wolf shifted. Not just moved, shifted. Its body convulsed, bones cracking with sickening pops that echoed over the wind. Fur receded, limbs elongated, and before my disbelieving eyes, the animal transformed into a man. A naked, bleeding man, sprawled in the mud, his muscular frame etched with tattoos that resembled ancient runes. I scrambled back, a scream lodged in my throat. This couldn't be real. Hallucinations from the crash? But no, the man groaned, his eyes fluttering open. The same amber hue as the wolf's. He was strikingly handsome. Even in pain, sharp jawline shadowed with stubble, dark hair plastered to his forehead, and a body honed like a warrior's. Scars crisscrossed his chest, old and new, telling stories of battles I couldn't fathom. Who? What are you? I stammered, my voice barely audible. He pushed himself up on one elbow, wincing as he clutched his side. You shouldn't be here, he rasped, his voice deep and gravelly, laced with an accent I couldn't place, something wild and tamed. Leave, now. I shook my head, defiance sparking amid the fear. You're hurt. I can't just leave you like this. My mind raced. Werewolves? Shifters? Those were myths, stories from books and movies. Yet here he was, flesh and blood, his gaze locked onto mine, intense and probing, as if he could see into my very essence. A strange warmth bloomed in my chest, unbidden and inexplicable, like a thread pulling me toward him. He inhaled sharply, his nostrils flaring. You're human. But there's something. He trailed off, confusion etching his features. Before I could respond, headlights pierced the darkness. A truck rumbled to a stop nearby, and two men jumped out, their faces grim under hooded jackets. Alpha Thorn, one shouted, rushing forward. We tracked your scent. What happened? The man Thorn growled low in his throat. Hunters ambushed me during the shift. This woman, she helped. The men eyed me suspiciously, their postures tense like coiled springs. One had a rifle slung over his shoulder, the other a knife at his belt. A human? Here? That's dangerous, Alpha. Thorn's eyes never left mine. She stays. For now. I backed away a step. I don't know what's going on, but I need to get out of here. My car was wrecked, phone dead, and now I was in the middle of whatever this was. Thorn struggled to his feet, towering over me at well over 6 feet. Despite his injury, power radiated from him, an aura that made the air hum. He reached out, his hand steadying on my arm, and that warmth intensified, sparking like electricity. You can't go back out there alone. The storm's not the only danger tonight. The men exchanged glances. Alpha, the pack enough, Ronan. Thorn snapped at the one with the rifle. His beta, I guessed, from the deferential tone. The other, leaner, with sharp features, must be Kai. Help me get her to the cabin. She's under my protection. Protection? From what? But as they half-carried Thorn toward the truck, gesturing for me to follow, I realized I had no choice. The forest seemed alive now, eyes watching from the shadows. And that pull toward Thorn, it terrified me as much as it intrigued. As we drove deeper into the woods, the cabin emerging like a sentinel amid the trees. I wondered if I'd escaped one monster only to stumble into a den of them. Thorn's gaze met mine in the rearview mirror, amber eyes smoldering with secrets. What's your name? He asked softly. Alara, I replied, my voice steadier than I felt. Alara. He repeated it like a prayer, or a curse. Little did I know, it was both. The cabin was a rustic haven, logs weathered by time, smoke curling from the chimney despite the storm. Inside, warmth enveloped me, a fire crackling in the stone hearth, furs draped over wooden furniture. Ronan and Kai helped Thorn to a couch, where he collapsed with a grunt. They fetched a medical kit, murmuring about silver-tipped arrows and rival packs. I hovered by the door, ready to bolt, but curiosity and that inexplicable tether kept me rooted. Thorn waved them off. Leave us. They hesitated, but obeyed, shooting me wary looks before stepping outside. Alone with him, the air thickened. He stripped off the remnants of his torn clothes without shame, revealing more of those intricate tattoos, symbols of moons and wolves intertwined. You're a werewolf? I asked, the word tasting absurd on my tongue. Shifter, he corrected, his voice laced with pain as he bandaged his wound. Born of ancient bloodlines, bound by the moon's cycles. Full moons force the change, but alphas like me control it better. Until tonight. Why were you out there? Hunters from a rival pack. They want our territory, the Blackwood lands. Rich in silver veins, deadly to us, but sacred. He met my eyes again, that pull intensifying. And you? Running from what? I swallowed, surprised by his perceptiveness. A bad relationship. He hurt me. I needed a fresh start. Thorn's jaw tightened, a flicker of rage in his gaze. No one will hurt you here. Not while I'm breathing. His words sent a shiver down my spine, not of fear, but something deeper, forbidden. I shouldn't trust him. He was a stranger, a creature from nightmares. Yet as he leaned back, exhaustion etching his features, I felt a kinship in our shared wounds. Outside, the storm raged on, but inside, a different tempest brewed. One of fate, secrets, and a bond that whispered of destiny. I had no idea then that Thorn Blackwood was my fated mate, or that loving him would mean choosing between my world and his, a choice that could shatter us both. Chapter 2. Whispers in the wood. The fire's glow danced across the cabin walls, casting long shadows that seemed to whisper secrets of their own. I sat on a worn armchair across from Thorn, wrapped in a thick wool blanket that smelled faintly of pine and earth's scent. I realized with a start. My clothes were drying by the hearth, leaving me in an oversized shirt Ronan had grudgingly provided. Thorn had dressed in loose pants and a simple tunic, but the bandages peeking from beneath hinted at the vulnerability beneath his imposing frame. He watched me with those amber eyes, unblinking, like a predator assessing prey. But there was no malice there, only curiosity, mirrored by my own. The storm outside had mellowed to a steady patter on the roof, but inside, tension crackled like the logs in the flames. "You don't have to stay," Thorn said finally, breaking the silence. His voice was a low rumble, soothing despite the edge. "Ronan can drive you to town once the road's clear. Blackridge Hollow isn't far." I clutched the blanket tighter, my mind replaying the shift, the impossible transformation that shattered everything I thought I knew. "And what? Pretend I didn't see that? Pretend you're not." I trailed off, the word werewolf sticking in my throat again. "Shifter," he supplied, a wry smile tugging at his lips. It softened his features, making him look almost approachable. "We're not monsters from fairy tales, Alara. Though some nights, it feels that way." I leaned forward, drawn in despite myself. "Tell me more. How does it work?" "The changing," he hesitated, rubbing a hand over his stubbled jaw. The tattoos on his arms shifted with the movement, intricate patterns that seemed to pulse faintly in the firelight. "It's in the blood. Ancient lineages tied to the moon. Full moons pull the wolf out, no choice. But alphas we train to control it, shift at will. Mostly." His gaze darkened. "Tonight, the silver weakened me. Hunters use it to level the field." "Silver? Like the legends?" He nodded. "It burns like fire, slows healing. Our pack guards these woods because they're laced with it, a blessing and a curse. Keeps outsiders away, but rivals covet it." "Your pack," I echoed, glancing toward the door where Ronan and Kai had vanished into the night. "How many? And why the rivalry?" Thorn's expression shuddered, a wall slamming down. "Enough questions for now. You're the one who crashed into our territory. Running from a man, you said. What did he do?" The shift in focus caught me off guard, vulnerability twisting in my gut. I looked away, into the flames. "Marcus. We were engaged. At first, it was perfect, charming, attentive. But then, control turned to possession. Bruises where no one could see. Words that cut deeper. My voice cracked, and I hated it. I'd sworn not to cry over him anymore." Thorn's growl was soft but feral, vibrating through the room. "He laid hands on you?" His fists clenched, knuckles whitening. "If he comes here, he won't," I interrupted, though doubt gnawed at me. Marcus had connections, a way of finding people. I covered my tracks, changed plates, paid cash. "But thanks for the offer." He relaxed slightly, but his eyes held a promise of violence. "No one touches what's—" He stopped, shaking his head. "No one deserves that. You're safe here, for as long as you need." The words hung between us, heavy with unspoken meaning. That strange warmth bloomed again, a tether pulling at my core. It wasn't just attraction though, God. He was magnetic, all raw power and quiet intensity. It felt deeper, like recognition. Fate? I dismissed the thought. I'd had enough fairy tales shatter. To break the moment, I stood and approached the window, peering into the darkened forest. Mist clung to the trees, and distant howls echoed, sending a chill down my spine. "Those your pack? Scouts," he replied, joining me. His presence was overwhelming, heat radiating from his body mere inches away. I could smell him, wood smoke, wild herbs, something primal. "Keeping watch." "The hunters who hit me, they're from the Silver Fang pack, led by Darius, an old enemy. He wants to expand, claim our lands for the silver mines. Why not share? Or fight back?" Thorn's laugh was bitter. "Share? Shifters don't share power. And fighting, it costs lives. I've lost too many already." His voice softened, laced with old pain. "My parents in a raid years ago. Then my sister, to a curse tied to our bloodline." "A curse?" I turned to face him, our faces close now. His breath brushed my skin, quickening my pulse. He reached out, almost touching my arm, then pulled back. "Old magic. Some say it's why alphas like me struggle with the bond, the soul tie that binds us to our mates. It twists fate, makes it dangerous. Mates? The words sent a jolt through me. Stories of destined loves and shifter lore flickered in my mind. But this felt too real to targeted. Thorn's eyes searched mine, vulnerability, cracking his guard. A fated connection. Rare, unbreakable. But for me, it's poisoned. The curse ensures any mate I claim suffers. The admission hung like smoke, thickening the air. Was he implying? No, impossible. Yet that pull intensified, urging me closer. I stepped back, needing space. Sounds lonely. It is. He turned away, stoking the fire with unnecessary force. Sparks flew, mirroring the turmoil inside me. I've led the pack alone for years, protected them from threats, but emotions, they're a weakness Darius exploits. We lapsed into silence, the crackle of flames, our only companion. I watched him, this alpha who commanded loyalty, yet carried invisible wounds. Like me, broken, guarded, yet yearning for trust. Slowly, I sat beside him on the couch, our thighs brushing. He tensed, but didn't move. Tell me about your sister, I said gently. If you want. He exhaled, shoulders slumping. Lyra, she was the light of the pack, fierce, kind. The curse hit her during a blood moon. She shifted wrong, trapped between forms. I couldn't save her. His voice broke, raw grief surfacing. Without thinking, I placed my hand on his. Electricity sparked at the touch, warmth spreading up my arm. He stared at our joined hands, then met my eyes. Why does this feel right? You're human. It shouldn't. I don't know, I whispered. But after Marcus, I thought I'd never feel safe again. Here with you, I do. The moment stretched, charged with possibility. His thumb brushed my knuckles, a tentative caress that ignited something deep within. But suspicion lingered. Why me? Why now? The howls outside grew closer, urgent. A knock shattered the intimacy. Ronan burst in, rain dripping from his coat. Alpha? Scouts report movement. Silver fangs on the border. And a stranger in town, asking questions. Human male fits the description of someone hunting a woman. My blood ran cold. Marcus? Thorn stood, all vulnerability gone, replaced by the alpha's command. Double the patrols. Elara stays inside. He turned to me, eyes fierce. Whoever he is, he won't touch you. As Ronan left, Thorn's hand lingered on my shoulder, protective. But doubt crept in. What if my past endangered his pack? And that curse he mentioned, did it explain the magnetic draw? Or was it something more sinister? The night deepened, secrets coiling like vines. I didn't know then that the bond between us was awakening, a fated mate tie that could heal or destroy. But as Thorn barred the door, his presence a shield against the storm, I felt the first threads of trust weave through my fear. Little by little, he was pulling me into his world, and I wasn't sure I wanted to resist. Chapter 3. Echoes of the moon's cabin felt smaller after Ronan's warning, the walls pressing in like the secrets they held. I paced the wooden floor, my bare feet silent on the rugs, while Thorn stood by the window, his silhouette etched against the fading storm. The howls outside had quieted, but an uneasy hush blanketed the forest, as if the trees themselves held their breath. Marcus, I said, the name tasting like ash. It has to be him. How could he find me so fast? Thorn turned, his amber eyes reflecting the fire's glow. Blackridge is small, strangers stand out, but my scouts will confirm. If it's him, we'll handle it. I stopped pacing, crossing my arms. This isn't your fight. I don't want to drag you or your pack into my mess. A muscle in his jaw ticked, and he stepped closer, his presence filling the space between us. You're in my territory now. That makes it my concern. His voice dropped, laced with that gravelly intensity. Besides, no one hunts in Blackwood without consequences. The protectiveness in his tone sent a warmth spiraling through me, but it warred with suspicion. Why did he care so much? A stranger, human no less, stumbling into his world. And that curse he'd mentioned, twisting bonds, endangering mates. Was I just a pawn in some supernatural game? Or was this pull between us real, not just my imagination? He must have seen the doubt in my eyes, because he sighed, running a hand through his damp hair. Sit. You look like you're about to bolt. I don't blame you, this isn't your world. I sank back onto the couch, and he joined me, leaving a careful distance. But even that space hummed with energy, like static before a lightning strike. Tell me about the pack, I said, steering away from my turmoil. How does it work? Like a family? Thorn leaned back, his gaze distant. More than that, blood and loyalty bind us. As alpha, I lead, protect, make the hard calls. Ronan and Kai are my beta's trusted lieutenants. We've got about 30 in the pack, scattered through the woods and cabins like this. We hunt, patrol, keep the old ways alive. Old ways? I prompted, intrigued despite myself. Rituals under the moon honoring the ancestors. The shift isn't just physical, it's spiritual. Connects us to the wild. He paused, his fingers tracing. A tattoo on his forearm, a swirling wolf under a crescent moon. But it's not all freedom. The curse, it shadows everything. There it was again, that veiled secret. You mentioned it affects mates. What exactly is it? His eyes met mine, guarded. An old hex from a war between packs centuries ago, cast by a witch allied with the Silver Fangs. It weakens alphas, makes claiming a mate risky. Pain, madness, or worse. He looked away into the fire. I've seen it claim lives. That's why I stay alone. The admission hung heavy, stirring empathy in me. So, no one? Ever? A faint smile ghosted his lips, bittersweet. Temptations, sure, but nothing real. Until he trailed off, shaking his head. Never mind. Until what? Me? The thought sent my heart racing, but I pushed it down. Slow down, Elara. You're fresh from one controlling man. Don't jump into another's arms, especially one with fangs. To distract myself, I stood and wandered to the kitchenette, spotting a pot of stew simmering on a wood stove. Hungry? Thorn asked, following. Kai's cooking. Venison fresh from the hunt. I nodded, and he ladled bowls for us. The simple act domestic, almost normal. We ate at the rough-hewn table, the flavors rich and wild, grounding me. Conversation flowed easier, stories of my city life, his forest adventures. He laughed at my tale of getting lost in a subway, a deep, genuine sound that lit his face, making him seem less the mythical alpha and more human. But as the meal ended, strangeness crept back. Thorn's movements grew restless. He kept glancing at the window, nostrils flaring as if scenting the air. What's wrong? I asked. The moon's rising. Full tomorrow, it's pulling already. He rubbed his temples. Makes the wolf restless. I glanced outside. Silver light filtered through the clouds, bathing the woods in an ethereal glow. Does it hurt? The shift? Sometimes. Like fire in your veins, but it's also release. His voice roughened, and he stood abruptly, pacing like a caged animal. Sweat beaded on his brow, though the room was cool. Concern overrode caution. I approached, touching his arm. Thorn? He froze, his skin hot under my fingers. That electric pulse surged, stronger now, drawing us closer. His eyes darkened, pupils dilating. Elara, you smell like rain and jasmine. It's intoxicating. My breath caught. What? He stepped back, breaking contact. Sorry. The moon amplifies senses, emotions. He turned away, bracing against the wall. You should rest. There's a room upstairs. But I didn't move. Suspicion mingled with curiosity. He was holding back, not just about the curse, but something personal. Why do I feel this connection? Like I've known you forever? Thorn's shoulders tensed. Fate plays tricks. Or maybe it's just the adrenaline from tonight. Liar, I thought. His evasion only deepened the mystery. What wasn't he saying? About his identity, the pack's secrets, or why a human like me stirred his wolf? A distant howl pierced the night, answered by others. Thorn straightened. Patrol's back. Stay here. He slipped outside, leaving me alone with my thoughts. I climbed the stairs to a cozy loft bedroom, furs on the bed, a window overlooking the moonlit clearing. Exhaustion tugged at me, but sleep evaded. Instead, I replayed our touches, his words. The bond felt cosmic, undeniable yet dangerous. Hours later, a noise woke me. Thorn, back in the main room, murmuring with Ronan. I crept to the door, eavesdropping. The stranger's description matches. He's asking about a woman fitting Alar's look. And Darius's scouts are probing deeper, Ronan said. Thorn growled. Double the guards. But the real issue. I centered it on her. The mate bond. It's awakening. Ronan's voice sharpened. Alpha? With the curse? It's suicide. She's human fragile. Send her away. No, Thorn snapped. She's mine to protect. The bond chose her for a reason. My heart pounded. Mate bond? Me? The revelation crashed over me like the storm, exhilarating, terrifying. But why hide it? And the curse? What risk did it pose to me? I retreated to bed, feigning sleep, when Thorn checked in. His shadow lingered, a soft sigh escaping him. "Sleep well, Alara," he whispered. As dawn crept in, painting the sky in soft grays, I lay awake, the suspense coiling tighter. Thorn's secret wasn't just his shifter nature, it was this destined tie, fraught with peril. Trust was building, brick by emotional brick. But obstacles loomed: Marcus, rival packs, and a curse that could tear us apart before we even began. Yet, as I heard Thorn settle downstairs, his presence a comforting anchor, I felt the bond deepen, healing my wounds, igniting hope. But suspicion whispered, what if embracing it meant losing myself to his world forever? Chapter 4. Veiled shadows. Dawn's light filtered through the cabin's curtains, painting the loft in soft hues of gold and gray. I lay there, staring at the beamed ceiling, Thorn's whispered words from the night before echoing in my mind. The mate bond, its awakening. The revelation had kept sleep at bay, a tangle of excitement and fear knotting in my chest. If it was true, if this inexplicable pull was some ancient destiny, why hadn't he told me? What else was he hiding behind those amber eyes? I dressed in my dried clothes, the fabric stiff from the storm, and descended the stairs. The main room was empty, but the scent of fresh coffee and bacon wafted from the kitchenette. Thorn stood at the stove, his back to me, broad shoulders tense under a fitted shirt. He moved with a fluid grace that belied his size, but there was an edge to it today, restless. Like the wolf lurking just beneath. "Morning," I said, my voice steadier than I felt. He turned, a small smile breaking through his guarded expression. "Slept well?" "Like a rock," I lied, accepting the mug he offered. Our fingers brushed, sending that familiar spark racing up my arm. His eyes flickered, darkening for a split second, but he pulled away quickly, busying himself with plates. We ate in companionable silence at first. The food simple but nourishing: eggs from the pack's hens, bread baked fresh. Outside, birdsong replaced the howls, a deceptive peace settling over the woods. But I couldn't ignore the undercurrent. "Any news from the scouts?" I asked, pushing my plate aside. Thorn's fork paused mid-air. The stranger checked into the inn in Blackridge, asking about a woman matching your description: brunette, late 20s, driving a blue sedan. He met my gaze, steady and reassuring. "But he hasn't moved closer. My wolves are watching." Wolves? The word still jarred, a reminder of the chasm between our worlds. "Thank you," I murmured, "for everything." He reached across the table, his hand covering mine. The touch was deliberate this time, warm and firm. "You don't have to thank me, Alara. It's instinct. Instinct. Or the bond." Suspicion gnawed at me. He was dancing around the truth, revealing fragments but withholding the whole. I pulled my hand back gently. "Instinct? Or something more? You mentioned a curse last night. Mates, what aren't you telling me?" His face shuddered, that alpha mask slipping into place. "It's complicated. The pack's lore is old, tangled. Not something to unload on a stranger. But I'm not a stranger anymore, am I?" I pressed, leaning forward. "I saw you shift, felt. Whatever this is between us." The warmth flared again, insistent, urging confession. Thorn stood abruptly, clearing the dishes with more force than necessary. "You're right, but trust takes time. Especially with the full moon tonight, it stirs things best left buried." His evasion only fueled my curiosity. He acted strangely, glances lingering too long, body language screaming restraint. Not human, indeed, but the secret ran deeper, tied to his identity as Alpha, perhaps a hidden vulnerability. To ease the tension, he suggested a walk. "The woods are safe in daylight. Fresh air might clear your head," I agreed, needing space from the cabin's confines. We stepped into the crisp morning, the forest alive with dew-kissed leaves and the rustle of hidden life. Thorn led the way along a narrow path, his strides confident, pointing out landmarks: an ancient oak scarred by lightning, a stream bubbling with crystal water. "This land's been ours for generations," he said, voice softening. "It heals if you let it." As we walked, conversation turned personal. I shared more about my past: growing up without parents, fostered in cold homes, finding solace in books about far-off adventures. "Marcus was supposed to be my escape," I admitted, kicking a pebble. "But he became the cage." Thorn stopped, turning to face me. Sunlight dappled his features, highlighting the scar along his jaw. You're stronger than you know, Alara. Surviving that. It takes fire in the soul. His words warmed me, chipping at my walls. And you? What's your cage? He hesitated, then gestured to a clearing ahead where massive stones formed a circle, etched with runes like his tattoos. This is the moon altar, where we perform rituals. He traced a symbol on one stone. My cage is duty. As Alpha, I bear the pack's burdens, the cursed chief among them. Tell me about it, I urged, stepping closer. Our arms brushed the contact. Electric. It's a blood hex, woven into my line. Weakens control during shifts, but worse for bonds. If an alpha claims a mate under it, the magic twists. Pain shared, fates entangled in darkness. His voice dropped to a whisper. I've avoided it, but lately, the pull is stronger. His eyes locked on mine, vulnerability. Ra. The air thickened, charged with unspoken desire. I felt it too, the bond deepening, a slow burn igniting embers of trust. My hand rose of its own accord, cupping his cheek. Stubble rasped against my palm, and he leaned into the touch, eyes closing briefly. Alara, he breathed, his hand covering mine. You make me want to break every rule. Then why hold back? My heart thundered, suspense coiling. Was this the moment he revealed the truth? A rustle in the bushes shattered it. Kai emerged, fur rippling as he shifted from wolf to man, clad in spare clothes from a hidden cache. Alpha, urgent. Darius sent an emissary, demands a parley at dusk. And the human stranger. He's meeting with locals, showing your photo, Alara. Thorn's demeanor shifted instantly, Alpha authority snapping into place. Gather the betas. We'll prepare. He turned to me, protective fire in his gaze. Stay close. This could be a trap. As we hurried back, Kai shot me a sidelong glance, suspicion evident. She's drawing trouble, Alpha. Humans complicate things. Enough, Thorn growled. She's under my protection. Back at the cabin, tension mounted. Thorn coordinated with his pack via a mix of calls and howls that carried on the wind. I watched from the porch, piecing together fragments. The mate bond, he'd all but confirmed it, yet suspense lingered. What exactly did claiming entail? And his identity, Alpha, cursed, but perhaps more. Whispers among the arriving wolves hinted at a prophecy, a human breaking the hex. As afternoon waned, Thorn pulled me aside. The parley's at the border. I have to go, but you'll be safe here with guards. No, I said firmly. If Marcus is involved, it's my fight too. He cupped my face, thumbs brushing my cheeks. The intimacy stole my breath, bond pulsing like a heartbeat. Brave woman, but danger lurks, the moon rises soon. Our lips hovered close, tension crackling. But he pulled back, restraint winning. Soon, he promised, eyes smoldering. As he left with his betas, I felt the void keenly. The bond deepened in his absence, emotional threads weaving tighter. Yet secrets shadowed us, the curse's full peril, his hidden role in the prophecy. Suspicion bloomed. Was I truly his mate, or a tool to break the hex? Dusk fell, the full moon peeking over the trees, casting an ominous glow. Howls rose, and I wondered if tonight would unveil the truth or shatter the fragile trust we'd built. Chapter 5. Lunar tensions. Full moon hung low on the horizon, a bloated silver orb that bathed the forest in an otherworldly light. I stood on the cabin's porch, arms wrapped around myself against the evening chill, watching as Thorn and his betas melted into the shadows. Their forms shifted seamlessly, men one moment, wolves the next, disappearing into the underbrush with barely a rustle. The air hummed with anticipation, the moon's pull evident in the distant howls that rose like a symphony of warnings. Inside, the cabin felt emptier without him, the fire's crackle a poor substitute for his presence. 2 pack members lingered as guards, a stern woman named Mira, her eyes sharp as daggers, and a younger shifter, Jox, who fidgeted with nervous energy. They eyed me warily, their loyalty to Thorn clear, but their trust in a human? Non-existent. Alpha knows what he's doing, Mira said gruffly, sharpening a knife by the hearth. But you drawing hunters and rivals. Bad omen on a full moon. I met her gaze steadily. I'm not here to cause trouble, but if Marcus is out there, Jock snorted. Humans and their dramas. The moon makes everything worse, stirs the blood, clouds judgment. Their words echoed Thorn's earlier warnings, amplifying the suspense coiling in my gut. The mate bond, he'd skirted the truth, but the pull was undeniable, a magnetic force that tugged even in his absence. What secret lurked in his alpha identity? The prophecy whispers I'd overheard hinted at more, a human savior or sacrifice. Doubt crept in, but so did a budding trust, forged in shared vulnerabilities. To distract myself, I busied with tea, the herbal scent calming my nerves. As night deepened, the moon climbed higher, its light streaming through the windows like accusatory fingers. I felt it too, a restlessness, as if the celestial body whispered secrets meant for me. Was this the bond's influence, bleeding into my human senses? A howl pierced the silence, closer than before. Mira tensed, head cocking. That's Ronan. Trouble. Before I could respond, the door burst open. Thorne staggered in, supported by Kai, blood streaking his shirt. Ronan followed, carrying a bundle. Wait, a body? No, an injured wolf, whimpering softly. What happened? I rushed forward, heart slamming. Thorne waved off Kai, straightening with a grimace. Ambush at the parley. Darius didn't come himself, sent lackeys with silver blades. His eyes met mine, fierce and relieved. But we held them off. Your stranger, Marcus. He was there, allied with them. Ice flooded my veins. Marcus? With shifters? Thorne nodded, collapsing onto the couch. He's no ordinary human. Smelled of old magic, perhaps a hunter lineage. He offered Darius intel on our patrols in exchange for help finding you. The room spun. Marcus, involved in the supernatural world? It explained his obsessiveness, the way he'd always seemed one step ahead. He knows about you? About shifters? Enough to be dangerous, Thorne growled, wincing as Mira tended his wounds, a deep slash across his ribs. But he fled when we countered. Coward. I knelt beside him, my hands trembling as I helped apply bandages. Our proximity ignited the bond, warmth spreading from where our skin touched. You could have been killed. Because of me. His hand captured mine, holding it against his chest. I felt his heartbeat, strong and steady, syncing with mine in a rhythm that felt predestined. Not because of you. For you. His voice softened, amber eyes searching mine. Elara. This pull. It's more than instinct. But with the curse, stop hiding. I whispered, frustration mingling with affection. Tell me the truth. About the bond. About why a human like me fits into your world. He hesitated, glancing at his pack. Leave us, he commanded. They obeyed reluctantly, Mira muttering under her breath. Alone, the air thickened, the moon's glow casting us in silver. Thorne's breath came ragged, not just from pain. The mate bond, its fate's mark. Souls linked across lives, unbreakable. For shifters, it's rare, sacred. But my line's curse poisons it. Claiming a mate means sharing the hex madness during shifts. Pain echoed between us. Then why risk it? I asked, though my body leaned closer, traitorous. Because you're her. The one the prophecy speaks of. His confession tumbled out, laced with awe. Ancient scrolls in the pack's archives, a human of pure heart, scarred by betrayal, to break the curse. Your scent? The pull. It matches? Prophecy? The revelation stunned me, deepening the suspense. Was Thorne's identity more than alpha, perhaps a key to some greater destiny? Doubt warred with the bond's certainty. And if it's wrong? If I'm not her? His free hand cupped my cheek, thumb tracing my lip. It feels right. You've already started healing me. Just being here eases the moon's rage. The intimacy built slowly, a crescendo of emotions. I leaned in, our foreheads touching, breaths mingling. Thorne, I feel it too. Like coming home. His eyes darkened with desire, but restraint held him back. The full moon peaks soon. I have to shift. Run it out. Stay inside, it's safest. But as he stood, a wave of dizziness hit him, the silver's poison lingering. I supported him to the door, our bodies pressed close. Outside, the pack waited in wolf form, eyes glowing. Thorne kissed my forehead, a chaste promise before shifting, his form rippling into the massive black wolf. He nuzzled my hand, a low rumble vibrating through me, then bounded into the night. I watched from the porch, the bond stretching but not breaking. Hours passed, the moon at its zenith, howls serenading the sky. Restless, I wandered the cabin, discovering a hidden drawer with old journals. Curiosity won. I flipped through yellowed pages, Thorne's handwriting, detailing pack history, the curse's toll. One entry caught my eye. The prophesied mate will bear a mark, a scar from human cruelty, mirroring the alpha's soul wound. Together, they shatter the hex under the blood moon. My hand traced the faint scar on my collarbone, Marcus's doing. Coincidence? Or fate? A crash outside jolted me. Mira burst in, human again. Intruders. Silverfangs breached the border. And your ex, he's leading them. Panic surged. Thorn? Still running. We have to hold them off. Armed with a borrowed dagger, I followed her into the fray. Shadows moved in the trees, wolves clashing, snarls echoing. Then, Marcus emerged from the mist, flanked by Darius's shifters, a smug grin twisting his face. Alara, darling. Time to come home. Rage boiled over. Never. A wolf lunged at him, but he fired a silver-tipped gun, the beast yelping. Chaos erupted. I dodged, heart pounding, until a familiar howl rent the air. Thorn, charging back, eyes blazing, he shifted mid-leap, tackling a foe. Alara, get back. But Marcus aimed at him. I acted on instinct, throwing myself between them. The shot grazed my arm, burning like fire. Thorn roared, dispatching the attacker with feral fury. He caught me as I stumbled, his arms a haven. Foolish woman, he murmured, fear in his voice. Why? For you, I echoed his earlier words, the bond flaring bright despite the pain. As the pack repelled the intruders, Thorn carried me inside, tending my wound with gentle hands. The moon waned, but our connection strengthened, emotional walls crumbling. Yet suspense lingered, the prophecy's full weight, the curse's threat. Would claiming the bond heal us, or invite greater danger? Dawn approached, promises unspoken. Thorn's secret identity as the prophesied alpha loomed, drawing me deeper into his world. Trust bloomed, but obstacles mounted, testing if our fates were truly entwined. Chapter 6. Beneath the blood moon cabin was a fortress of shadows as dawn crept closer. The full moon's silver glow fading into a bruised pre-dawn sky. My arm throbbed where the silver bullet had grazed me, the pain a sharp reminder of Marcus's cruelty and the supernatural war I'd stumbled into. Thorn knelt before me, his hands steady as he cleaned the wound with a damp cloth, his touch gentle but charged with unspoken intensity. The bond between us pulsed, a living thread, weaving tighter with every heartbeat. Yet shadowed by secrets he still held close. You're reckless, he murmured, his amber eyes flicking to mine, a mix of frustration and awe. Taking a bullet for me? That's not your place. I winced as he applied a salve, but met his gaze defiantly. It felt right. You've been protecting me since I crashed into your world. I owed you. His lips twitched, almost a smile, but pain lingered in his expression, not physical, but deeper, etched in the lines of his face. You owe me nothing, Alara. This connection, it's not about debts. The word connection hung heavy, a stand-in for the mate bond he'd hinted at but hadn't fully confessed. Suspense coiled tighter. Why the hesitation? Was it the curse? The prophecy? Or something more personal about his identity as Alpha? The journal's words echoed, a scar from human cruelty, mirroring the Alpha's soul wound. My scar burned under his gaze, as if it recognized its counterpart in him. He finished bandagging my arm, his fingers lingering on my skin. The air thickened, the bond sparking like embers. I wanted to press him, demand the truth, but the vulnerability in his eyes stopped me. Instead, I reached out, tracing the scar along his jaw. What's this from? Thorn stiffened, but didn't pull away. A fight years ago. Darius's father. He challenged my claim as Alpha after my parents died. I was young, barely controlled the shift, nearly lost everything. His openness cracked another layer of my defenses. You were alone, I said softly, understanding the weight of that solitude. Like me, after my mom died. No one to lean on. He nodded, his hand covering mine, pressing it to his cheek. Until now, the moment stretched, intimate and raw. Our breaths synced, the cabin fading until it was just us, two wounded souls finding solace in the storm. I leaned closer, drawn by that cosmic pull, but a sharp knock broke the spell. Mira entered, her face grim. Alpha, the Silverfangs retreated, but Darius left a message carved into a tree at the border. The blood moon comes. The human dies. My stomach dropped. Thorn's growl rumbled low, vibrating through me. He's threatening the prophecy. He knows. Knows what? I demanded, pulling back. Thorn, enough half-truths. What's the blood moon? And why am I a target? He stood, pacing, the Alpha's authority warring with his need to protect me. The blood moon 3 nights from now. It's rare, amplifies magic. The prophecy says a human mate, marked by betrayal, can break the curse under it. But Darius, he believes killing you will cement the hex, weaken us forever. the revelation hit like a physical blow. I was no longer just a fugitive from Marcus, I was a linchpin in a supernatural feud. So I'm what? A savior or a sacrifice? Thorn's eyes blazed. Neither. You're mine to protect. He closed the distance, cupping my face. I won't let them touch you, Alara. Not Darius. Not Marcus. The possessiveness in his voice stirred the bond, igniting a slow burn of desire. But suspicion lingered. Was his protectiveness love, or duty to the prophecy? His identity as Alpha felt layered with more than he'd revealed, perhaps a secret tied to the curse's origin. Mira cleared her throat. We need you at the altar, Alpha. The pack's restless moon's still high, and the curse is stirring them. Stay here, Thorn told me, his tone brooking no argument. But as he turned to leave, I grabbed his arm. I'm coming. If I'm part of this prophecy, I need to understand. He searched my face, then nodded reluctantly. Stay close. We trekked through the woods, Mira and Jacques flanking us, their forms flickering between human and wolf as the moon's pull lingered. The moon altar loomed ahead, its stones glowing faintly under the fading light. The pack gathered 20 wolves, some shifted, others human, their eyes reflecting distrust and curiosity as they watched me. Whispers of human and prophecy rippled through them. Thorn took his place at the altar's center, his presence commanding silence. The silver fangs threaten our lands, our future, he declared. But the prophecy holds hope. The blood moon approaches, and with it, a chance to break the curse. A grizzled wolf shifter, Elder Soren, stepped forward. And her? He jerked his head toward me. She's the one? A human and tested? Murmurs rose, some hostile. Thorn's growl silenced them. She's under my protection. Question her, you question me. His defense warmed me, deepening our bond, but the pack's suspicion fueled my own. What if I wasn't the one? What if the bond was a trick of magic? Soren's eyes narrowed. The prophecy demands a bond sealed in truth. If she's your mate, Alpha, claim her before the blood moon, or the curse will claim you both. Thorn's jaw tightened, but he didn't respond. The omission spoke volumes, fear of the curse, or doubt about me. The suspense of his full identity, perhaps tied to the prophecy's origin, gnawed at me. As the pack dispersed, Thorn led me to a secluded grove near the altar. Moonlight bathed us, the air thick with pine and magic. They're scared, he said. The curse has taken to many. They see you as hope or a threat. And you? I asked, stepping closer. What do you see? He looked at me, raw emotion breaking through his guard. You're a storm I didn't expect, Alara. Every instinct screams to claim you, but the curse. I can't lose you to it. His confession cracked my heart open. I touched his chest, feeling his pulse race. Tell me how to help. If I'm this prophesied mate, let me fight with you. He pulled me close, arms enveloping me. The bond flared, a slow burn of trust and desire. Just be here, he whispered. That's enough for now. Our lips hovered inches apart, the promise of a kiss heavy between us. But a distant howl, urgent, panic shattered the moment. Ronan sprinted into the grove, breathless. Alpha, Marcus is back, with Silverfang reinforcements. They're at the eastern ridge, armed with silver. Thorn's face hardened. Rally, the pack. We end this tonight. As he prepared to leave, I grabbed his hand. I'm not hiding anymore. I face him with you. His eyes softened, pride mixing with fear. Stay behind me. We moved as one, the bond, a tether in the chaos. Suspense mounted. Marcus's alliance with Darius, the prophecy's weight, Thorn's veiled role as Alpha. Trust grew, but danger loomed, threatening to test our fragile connection. The blood moon neared, promising answers or destruction. Chapter 7. Claws of Destiny. The eastern ridge loomed like a jagged spine against the paling sky, the full moon's influence waning but its energy still crackling in the air. Thorn led the charge, his form a blur of muscle and determination, shifting mid-stride into his massive wolf. I followed as best I could, flanked by Mira and Jacques, my borrowed dagger heavy in my hand. The bond tugged at me, a lifeline pulling me toward him even as fear clawed at my throat. Marcus, my past incarnate, now allied with Darius's pack, turning my escape into a battlefield. We crested the ridge under cover of shadows, the pack fanning out in a silent arc. Below, in a misty clearing, figures moved, silver-fang wolves prowling, their eyes gleaming like molten silver, and at the center, Marcus. He stood tall, clad in dark tactical gear, a silver-loaded rifle slung over his shoulder. Flanking him were Darius's emissaries, hulking shifters in human form, their faces twisted in snarls. Thorn shifted back beside me, his breath hot against my ear. "Stay low. Let us handle the front line." But I shook my head, adrenaline fueling my resolve. "He's my demon. I need to face him." His eyes searched mine, a storm of protectiveness and pride. Then together, his hand squeezed mine briefly, the touch igniting the bond, a slow, deepening warmth that whispered of trust earned through fire. The pack struck first, howls shattering the night as wolves collided in a frenzy of fur and fangs. Silver glinted in the moonlight blades, bullets drawing yelps of pain from both sides. Thorn charged ahead, tackling a silver fang beta with raw power. I darted forward, Mira at my side, her knife flashing as she dispatched an attacker. Marcus spotted me, his eyes narrowing with that familiar possessive gleam. "Elara, you think you can hide behind these freaks?" He raised his rifle, but Jox lunged, forcing him to dodge. I closed the distance, dagger raised. "It's over, Marcus. Leave, or end up like your new friends." He laughed, a cold, mocking sound. "Oh, darling, you have no idea what I've uncovered. These beasts, their secrets? I know about the curse, the prophecy. Darius promised me power your life in exchange for breaking their alpha." His words sent a chill through me. How deep did his knowledge go? And Thorn, what more was he hiding? The suspense tightened like a noose. If Marcus knew the prophecy, did he know Thorn's full role? The alpha's soul wound, was it more than loss? Perhaps a hidden betrayal in his past? Before I could respond, a silver-fang wolf pounced on me, jaws snapping. I rolled, slashing wildly, the blade connecting with its flank. It yelped, retreating, but pain bloomed in my side from its claws. Thorn's roar echoed. He shifted, barreling into the wolf, teeth sinking deep. The beast went limp, and Thorn shifted back, bloodied but fierce, pulling me to my feet. "You're hurt," he growled, his hands roaming my side, checking the wound. Just a scratch, but his concern deepened. The bond, an emotional tether strengthening amid chaos. "Marcus, he knows too much." Thorn's face darkened. "Hunters like him dig into old lore, but he won't live to use it." The fight raged around us, Ronan pinning a shifter, Kai dodging silver shots. Darius wasn't here, but his pack fought with desperation, as if this skirmish was a prelude to something greater. Marcus fired again, the bullet whizzing past my ear. Thorn shoved me down, covering me with his body as he returned fire with a scavenged gun. In that moment, pressed beneath him, our hearts pounding in unison, the world narrowed. "I can't lose you," he whispered, his voice raw. "Not when I've just found you." Tears pricked my eyes, not from fear, but the intensity of the bond. "Then fight with me. Tell me everything after." He nodded, a promise in his eyes, before rolling off and engaging another foe. I scrambled up, spotting Marcus reloading. Rage surged. I charged, tackling him to the ground. We grappled, his strength overwhelming, but my desperation fueled me. "You ruined me once," I hissed, kneeing his gut. "Not again," he grunted, flipping us, his hands around my throat. "You're mine, Elara, always." Black spots danced in my vision, but a blur of black fur. Thorn slammed into him, sending Marcus sprawling. Thorn shifted, standing over him, eyes blazing amber. "She's no one's property, least of all yours." Marcus sneered, blood trickling from his lip. "You think your bond saves her? The curse will devour you both. I know your secret, Alpha, the blood debt your family owes." "The witches pact." Thorn froze, a flicker of shock crossing his face. The words hung like a revelation, deepening the mystery of his identity. "A blood debt? What pact?" The pack hesitated, ears perking at the accusation. Suspicion bloomed in me. Thorn's secret wasn't just the curse. It was a hidden shame, perhaps the origin of the hex itself. Before Thorn could respond, Marcus lunged for his rifle. A shot rang out, Mira's arrow piercing his shoulder. He howled in pain, scrambling back as silver fangs retreated, dragging their wounded. "Don't pursue," Thorn commanded, his voice strained. "It's a feint. Regroup." As the enemy vanished into the mist, the pack shifted back, tending wounds. Thorn turned to me, pulling me into his arms despite the blood and dirt. "Are you all right?" "Physically, yes." But Marcus's words echoed. What did he mean? Blood debt? Witches pact? Thorn's embrace tightened, but he pulled back, avoidance in his eyes. Old lies. Hunters twist history, but his evasion only heightened the suspense. The bond urged trust, but secrets festered. "Thorn, If we're mates, if the prophecy is real, we can't build on half-truths, he sighed, forehead resting against mine. You're right, but not here. Back at the cabin. I promise. The return trek was silent, the pack subdued. Dawn broke fully, painting the woods in soft light, but tension lingered. At the cabin, Thorn dismissed the others, leading me inside. He stoked the fire, then sat beside me, taking my hands, my family. Generations ago, an ancestor made a pact with a witch for power during a war. It backfired, the curse was the price. A blood debt unpaid, binding alphas to solitude. His voice cracked. I've searched for ways to atone, but the prophecy points to you. Breaking it means facing that debt, risking my life, and yours. The confession deepened our bond, vulnerability forging intimacy. I squeezed his hands. We'll face it together. No more secrets. He pulled me close, our lips finally meeting in a tentative kiss, soft, exploring, igniting the slow burn into flame. It was a breakthrough, trust blooming amid healing. But as we parted, a knock came. Elder Soren. Alpha, scouts report Darius massing for the blood moon. And Marcus. He's vanished, but left a trail of spells. Dark magic. Thorn's face hardened. Prepare the defenses. As Soren left, Thorn held me tighter. The final test comes. Stay with me? Always, I whispered, yet suspense simmered, the pack's full details, the debt's cost. The bond grew, but betrayal loomed if secrets remained. The blood moon approached, promising climax or catastrophe. Chapter 8. Threads of the pack. The fire in the cabin crackled softly, a counterpoint to the storm of emotions swirling within me. Thorn's confession about the blood debt hung in the air like smoke, thick and suffocating. His arms still encircled me, a protective cage that felt both safe and confining. The kiss we'd shared lingered on my lips, a tentative spark that promised more, yet was overshadowed by the weight of his secrets. The bond pulls between us, urging deeper connection, but Marcus's parting words echoed, the blood debt your family owes, the witch's pact. What exactly had Thorn's ancestor done, and how did it bind him now? I pulled back slightly, searching his face in the firelight. Shadows danced across his features, highlighting the scar on his jaw and the weariness in his amber eyes. Thorn, that pact, tell me everything. No more fragments. If we're facing this together, I need the full truth. He exhaled heavily, releasing me to pace the room. His movements were restless, the alpha's grace tempered by inner turmoil. It's not a story I tell lightly. It could change how you see me. That's the point, I said gently, standing to face him. Trust isn't built on omissions. He stopped, leaning against the mantel, his gaze distant as if peering into the past. Centuries ago, during the Great Pack Wars, my great-great-grandfather, Alaric, was Alpha. The Silver Fangs were winning, slaughtering our kin. Desperate, he sought out a witch Alawan, a rogue with ties to ancient magic. He bargained his bloodline's loyalty for power, enhanced strength, unbreakable territory wards. But the pack demanded a price, a firstborn daughter to serve the witch's coven. A chill ran down my spine. And he agreed? Thorn nodded grimly. The power turned the tide. We won. But when the time came, Alaric refused to pay. He hid his daughter, broke the pact. Ilawan cursed us in retaliation, the hex that twists mate bonds, dooms alphas to solitude or madness. The debt lingers unpaid, fueling the curse's strength. The revelation deepened the suspense surrounding his identity. Thorn wasn't just an alpha. He was the heir to a legacy of betrayal, a secret shame that could unravel his leadership if the pack knew the full extent. Why hide this? Does the pack know? Only fragments, he admitted, vulnerability cracking his voice. Elders like Soren suspect, but revealing it fully, it could fracture us. Darius uses it as leverage, twisting history to rally his followers. He claims the debt makes my line unworthy. Empathy surged through me, mingling with the bond's warmth. I stepped closer, placing a hand on his chest. That debt isn't yours. You didn't make the choice. But I carry it, he whispered, covering my hand with his. His touch sent shivers through me, the slow burn of desire building amid the emotional rawness. The prophecy says a true mate can atone, balance the scales under the blood moon. But if we fail, the curse claims us both. Pain, transformation gone wrong. I've seen it in my kin. His fear mirrored my own, from Marcus's control to this supernatural snare. Yet, in sharing, trust deepened, brick by brick. We'll find a way, I said, my voice steady. Together, Thorn's eyes softened, pulling me into an embrace. His scent earth and wild wind enveloped me, the bond humming like a melody. We stood like that, hearts aligning, until he tilted my chin up. You're braver than any shifter I've known. Our lips met again, this time deeper, exploratory. His hands traced my back, igniting sparks, but restraint held the curse's shadow, tempering passion. The kiss broke, leaving us breathless, the emotional build-up a tantalizing promise. A soft knock interrupted. Ronan entered, his face etched with concern. Alpha, the pack secured the borders, but scouts found traces of dark magic wards breached near the old witch's hollow. Marcus's doing, laced with Silverfang scents, Thorn tensed, releasing me. Ilawan's hollow, that sacred ground abandoned since the pact. Ronan's eyes flicked to me, suspicion lingering. If he's stirring old magic, it could amplify the curse. We need to investigate. I'll go, Thorn said. Gather a small team. Ilara stays. No, I interjected. If the prophecy involves me, I need to see this. He hesitated, then nodded. Fine, but at the first sign of danger, we set out as the sun climbed higher, a small group, Thorn, Ronan, Mira, and me. The woods thickened, paths overgrown with vines that whispered of forgotten times. Thorn walked beside me, his hand occasionally brushing mine, a silent reassurance that deepened our bond. As we neared the hollow, the air grew heavy, charged with residual magic. Ruins emerged, crumbling stone arches, overgrown with moss, runes etched like Thorn's tattoos. Ilawan's lair, Thorn murmured. Where the pact was sealed, I felt a pull, the bond resonating with the site's energy. Suspicion stirred. What if my role in the prophecy was more than mate? Marcus's knowledge suggested deeper ties. Ronan scouted ahead, returning with a grim find, a fresh altar, smeared with blood runes, a lock of hair mine. At its center, dark ritual. To summon the dead, perhaps force the curse's peak before the blood moon. Thorn's growl was feral. Marcus is playing with forces he doesn't understand. This could unravel everything. As we examined the site, a mist rose, unnatural and cloying. Visions flickered, ghostly images of Alaric and Ilawan, sealing the pact. I gasped, clutching Thorn's arm. I see them. The bargain. His eyes widened. You sense the magic? Humans shouldn't. The revelation heightened suspense. Was my pure heart more? A witch's descendant? Thorn's identity tied to this. Perhaps a secret ability to commune with the past. Before we could ponder, arrows whistled, silver-tipped. Ambush. Silver fangs emerged, led by a snarling beta. Darius sends regards. The debt calls. Chaos erupted. Thorn shifted, protecting me as I wielded my dagger. Ronan and Mira fought fiercely, but the mist disoriented, magic amplifying the curse. Thorn winced mid-fight, his shift flickering unstable. I dragged him behind a ruin. The curse, it's hitting you, he grunted, human again, sweat beading. The ritual, weakening me. Desperation fueled me. I touched a rune. The bond guiding a surge of energy flowed, stabilizing him. How? You, he breathed, awe in his eyes. The prophecy awakens. He rejoined the fray, turning the tide. The attackers fled, but the damage lingered. Thorn's vulnerability exposed. Back at the cabin, he collapsed, exhausted. I tended him, our bond a balm. Whatever I am, it helps you. He pulled me close. My mate, my salvation. As night fell, intimacy grew, shared whispers, touches laden with promise. But suspense mounted, the pack's full atonement, my emerging role. Marcus and Darius plotted, the blood moon looming. Trust deepened, but revelation beckoned, threatening to redefine us. Chapter 9. Echoes of Adonament. Night draped the cabin like a heavy cloak. The fire's embers casting a warm, flickering glow that did little to dispel the chill of revelations. Thorn lay on the couch, his breathing steady now. The curse's flare subsided, thanks to whatever surge of energy I'd channeled at the hollow. I sat beside him, a cloth in hand, dabbing at the sweat on his brow. His eyes, half-lidded, watched me with a mix of gratitude and something deeper, affection laced with fear. The bond thrummed between us, a silent symphony, building in intensity, urging us closer even as secrets threatened to pull us apart. You saved me back there, he murmured, his voice rough from exhaustion. That power, it's not just the prophecy. You're connected to this magic, Alara, deeper than we thought. I set the cloth aside, my fingers tracing the runes on his arm, symbols that now felt alive under my touch, pulsing faintly. Connected? How? I'm human. No witch blood, no shifter genes, just me. He captured my hand, bringing it to his lips in a gentle kiss that sent warmth spiraling through me. Maybe not. The visions you saw Alawan and Alaric, that sear sight, rare, even among us. Perhaps your lineage crosses paths with the pact. A descendant? Or fate's twist? The suggestion deepened the suspense, layering mystery over his identity. If Thorn was heir to Alaric's betrayal, what if I was tied to Alawan's side? A secret heritage that could make me enemy or ally? Doubt flickered, but the bond soothed it, weaving trust through the uncertainty. I don't feel magical, I confessed, leaning into him. His arm wrapped around my waist, pulling me against his side. The contact was electric, a slow burn that ignited embers of desire. But when I touched that rune, it was like the bond guided me, like we're two halves of something broken. Thorn's chuckle was low, vibrating through his chest. That's the mate pull. It heals, connects. But with the curse, it's a double-edged blade. His free hand cupped my cheek, thumb brushing my scar, the one Marcus had left. This mark, it mirrors mine. Soul wounds, as the prophecy calls them. Yours from human betrayal, mine from ancestral sin. His vulnerability cracked the user's query is, now, generate next chapter of the story, ensuring smooth continuity from the previous section. Continue the slow emotional build-up, deepen the bond between characters, and maintain suspense about the shifter's identity or secret. Keep the word count consistent and naturally lead into the next section. Write 1,000 words. This continues the werewolf romance story. I need to generate Chapter 9, following the structure from previous chapters. Chapter 8 ended with them back at the cabin after the ambush at the Witch's Hollow. Thorn is exhausted. Alar attends to him. They share intimacy, but suspense about the Pact's full atonement and Alara's emerging role. Marcus and Darius are plotting, blood moon looming, for Chapter 9. Structure, betrayal or sacrifice. One of them tries to walk away or hide a truth that hurts the other. Keep slow burn. Deepen bond, maintain suspense, word count around 1,000 to 1,300. Aim for 1,000 as per prompt, bold heading for chapter. Unique names, Alara Voss, Thorn Blackwood, others like Ronan, Kai, Mira, Jox, Elder Soren, Darius, Marcus. No tools needed here. This is creative writing continuation. The system prompt has tools, but for this query, it's straightforward story generation. The date is September 21st, 2025, but irrelevant. No function calls needed, output directly as the chapter. Chapter 9, fractured Vouse night enveloped the cabin like a shroud. The fire's dying embers casting flickering light across Thorn's weary form. He lay on the couch, his chest rising and falling in shallow breaths, the curses flare from the ritual still sapping his strength. I sat beside him, a damp cloth in hand, dabbing at the sweat on his brow. The bond between us thrummed, a steady undercurrent of warmth that had grown from tentative sparks to a profound, almost tangible connection. Yet, the revelations at Alawan's Hollow lingered like thorns. My unexpected attunement to the magic, the Pact's unpaid debt. What did it mean for me? A human thrust into this world. And Thorn, his identity as the cursed heir carried layers I suspected he hadn't fully unveiled. You're improving, I murmured, my voice soft in the quiet. The salve I'd applied, a pack remedy of herbs and moon-blessed water, seemed to ease his tension. Thorn's eyes opened, amber depths reflecting gratitude and something deeper, more vulnerable. Because of you, that surge at the hollow, you channeled the energy, stabilized me. His hand captured mine, thumb tracing circles on my palm. The touch sent ripples through me, deepening the emotional tie that bound us. But how? I asked, leaning closer. I'm human. No magic in my blood. He hesitated, his gaze shifting to the flames. The prophecy hints at it. The mate's role isn't passive. A bridge between realms, the scrolls say. Your scar, your past. It mirrors the Pact's betrayal. Perhaps that's why you sense it. Suspicion stirred anew. The scrolls, had he read them fully? Or was there a secret clause about the Alpha's identity, a hidden sacrifice? Marcus's taunts about the debt suggested more, perhaps a personal tie Thorn feared revealing. And if it's true, what does atonement require? Thorn's jaw tightened, avoidance flickering. Blood for blood. A willing offering under the blood moon to balance the scales. He pulled me down beside him, our bodies aligning on the couch. But not yours. I won't let it come to that. His protectiveness ignited a fierce affection, the bond weaving tighter. I rested my head on his chest, listening to his heartbeat, a rhythm that synced with mine, healing old wounds. We've come this far. Hiding won't save us. He tilted my chin, his lips brushing mine in a kiss that started tender, but deepened, laced with desperation. Hands roamed, exploring with reverence, the slow burn of desire building to a crescendo. Yet, he pulled back, breath ragged. Elara, the curse. If we go further, it could trigger the madness early. Frustration mingled with understanding. The intimacy was a tease, emotional layers peeling back to reveal raw need. Then we wait for the blood moon. Sleep claimed him soon after, but I lay awake, the bond a double-edged sword, comforting, yet amplifying doubts. What if my role demanded more than love? A sacrifice that could shatter us? Morning brought a fragile peace. Thorn rose stronger, the curse's grip loosened by rest and our connection. We shared a quiet breakfast, conversation flowing to lighter memories, my childhood dreams of adventure, his youthful hunts under starlit skies. Laughter came easier, trust blossoming like wildflowers in the forest, but peace shattered with Ronan's arrival, his face ashen. Alpha, Elder Soren requests you at the archives. Urgent new translations from the scrolls. Thorn's expression hardened. Alone? Ronan glanced at me uneasily. He insists. Pack business. I'll return soon, Thorn told me, kissing my forehead, a promise laden with unspoken worry. As he left, a knees nod. Why exclude me? The bond tugged, urging me to follow, but I resisted, wandering the woods instead, Mira as reluctant guard. The trees whispered secrets, the air humming with latent magic. At the stream, I knelt, splashing water on my face, when a vision flickered, Alawan's ghostly form. Echoing words, the air must pay with heart's blood, I gasped, the bond flaring with Thorn's distant turmoil. Was this my emerging ability, or a warning? Returning to the cabin, I found Thorn already back, poring over an ancient scroll. His posture was rigid, face pale. What is it? I demanded. He rolled it up quickly, but not before I glimpsed runes matching his tattoos. Nothing new, just confirmations. Liar. The bond betrayed him, a ripple of guilt. Suspense coiled. What truth hurt so much he'd hide it? Thorn, don't. After everything, it's to protect you. He snapped, then softened. The atonement. It requires the Alpha's sacrifice. My life, to break the curse. The words punched the air from my lungs. No, there must be another way. He pulled me close, but tension radiated. The scrolls clarify the mate channels the magic, but the debt demands the heir's blood. I can't ask you to watch that. The trail stung, hot and sharp. So you'd walk away? Sacrifice yourself without telling me? The words chilled me. Marcus, defeated but alive, glared from his bindings. Darius had vanished, his threat unresolved. The bond anchored us, but a final challenge loomed, perhaps within ourselves. As dawn broke, painting the altar gold, Thorn kissed me, a vow of forever. Whatever comes, we face it as one. I nodded, love outweighing fear. But the shadow of doubt lingered, setting the stage for a final reckoning under the fading blood moon.